Hello everybody! Welcome to another edition of Vesper's Retro Reviews. I'm Ramsis.
And I'm TheVespor.
And we're here for another review of a Season 1 Transformers episode. This time it's gonna be Fire on the Mountain, episode number 9, originally released December 22nd, 1984 in syndication. The episode was written by Douglas Booth. And this is gonna be an interesting one because it actually resolves a lot of things that we've already seen and talked about in previous episodes that they're going to bring up again in this one. There's one very important situation that happens here that's pretty much going to undo the events of a previous episode. So this is actually an important episode for that. We now have Dinobots who are not going to show up in this episode, but what is going to show up in this episode is, that's right, more trying to get power for Megatron to use in some capacity. So the episode starts with Trailbreaker and Brawn spotting...
Wait. Are you sure that's Trailbreaker right there? He's awful red.
Yeah, I guess he's red with anger. I don't know what it is. Yes, that is Trailbreaker, red Trailbreaker, and for some reason they don't recognize Thundercracker and Starscream. There seems to be some dispute. We think it's Decepticons, we don't know, we're following them.
Wait a second here again, Ramses. This makes no sense. The freaking Dinobots, who don't even have like a quarter of a brain, realize that they have Autobot symbols and there's Decepticon symbols over there, so let's shoot them. It's not like the Seekers don't have those symbols on their wings that you can see from their point of view.
And you can very clearly see the Decepticon symbol on them, so I didn't get the problem here, but they're following two jets that we don't know what they are or whatever. The whole thing's a little confusing. And of course, what are the Decepticons up to? It's Thundercracker and Starscream, and they're stealing steel. Yes, we get the pun, stealing steel. And even Brawn makes a bad joke about that.
Great working with you, Starscream.
What do you mean, working? Looks more like stealing to me, and I'm talking steel.
We don't know what they need the steel for, and there's some debate on how good the steel is. So Starscream's like, I don't care, it's great steel because I said so. Thundercracker's like, no, it's not. And here we go again. We're going to have all the random workers in this factory that look like they're from the same exact factory that all the other workers in this planet work on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They just march in. They just start taking the steel until freaking Trailbreaker and Brawn just break right in, get it on like Donkey Kong, and there's a nice fun fight scene that leads to us learning that Starscream has a secret power.
Oh, and what's the secret power?
He has boob missiles.
He's not making that up. There it is. But that's not the funniest part of all this. So he fires those two missiles, and look at all the clones of the same worker running out of there.
This is 1980s Earth. As you saw before, we had antimatter and cloning technology back then.
So his missiles destroy the whole entire complex, which is amazing because we've seen that antimatter just destroys windows, but two breast missiles destroy a whole entire facility and everything within it, except for the two Autobots who were there, which of course are Trailbreaker and Brawn. The humans, I guess, are...
Well, they're dead.
Yes.
I mean, after all, we've already seen in previous episodes, the body count for the poor humans involved in this is astronomical.
He and Thundercracker fly away at the steel. They're like, oh, well, they got away. Let's go back to Optimus and report. We'll be fine. As they're in the wreckage of the factory facility that Starscream just accidentally pretty much destroyed. I'm like, wow, if he purposely tried to do it, he can't do that. But accidentally, he's able to level the whole place.
Which also raises another question. They're chasing Seekers in their jet form. How are they keeping up on ground? Oh wait, that's right, because remember, in Fire in the Sky, they went from their base in Oregon to the far north in the Arctic Circle in less than 2 minutes.
Now let's head back to Autobot headquarters because that was a total bust. So Optimus is going to have a very weird role in this episode because he's really not going to do much. Optimus is sort of just there to be like, I mean, Optimus really does nothing in this episode. Any ideas, Bumblebee? I'm like, wow, you're going to put this on Bumblebee because you have no idea what to do. And Bumblebee's like, I have one idea. Spike, go launch the satellite.
Oh, and by the way, folks, remember, Teletran 1 is designed for Autobots use, not humans. Spike just walks over and just uses, I guess, the new console they made for him.
Yeah, he's like booping booping, his fingers are dancing around and the lights are like, okay, Bumblebee. Spike has become fully immersed with Cybertronian technology. I think it's great.
But also don't forget, folks, we've already learned in previous episodes that the real stars of this show is Sparkplug, Spike, Chip, and Optimus Prime. That is actually the Autobots that count, by the way.
called the Sky Spy is launched, and we've seen this before. This is the same thing that was used in the first episode of the pilot.
And now we shift scenes once again down to, of all places, Peru, and the Decepticons are investigating an Incan legend involving a temple and a shaft that leads deep into the Earth's core. I'm like, whoa, wait a second. If it's linked to the Earth's core, there should be lava shooting out. Okay, we'll go with this Transformers. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but maybe they made a nice gateway or something to block the lava. And what do we get? A green crystal.
You know, the Decepticons are obsessed with crystals. How many times already have we seen crystals? I think this is like the third time now we're having a crystal power source that comes into play here in an episode, and we're only 9 episodes in the series here.
Why are they interested in a stone that's blocking lava? It's just blocking lava. Surely this can't have no special powers.
Well, let's see if that's true, Vespor. No, it looks very powerful to me. He just blew up this Sky Spy with that.
That makes no sense whatsoever. Where's all the lava going down there? It showed us right there. There's lava shooting up. Should the temple be filled with it?
Well, the funny moment of this is the lava starts to react right as Starscream shows what they use the stolen steel for. And yes, I'm going to use the pun again. They make a casing that is like a weapon holster, I'll say. The crystal goes right into it, and then you can fire from the crystal. Well, we're not going to think too much on it. I don't even know why this would work. But the funny part of the situation is Starscream gets thrown off of his balance, and Megatron's making fun of Starscream, and Starscream's pretty much accepting it this go around. He's not really getting that upset about it. And Megatron's upset because, yes, look at what happened to his ray after he fired it. It looks like it's going to need some Viagra after this test shot was taken.
You know what the best part about all this is? Even after Megatron has a little bit of an oopsie there, Starscream, being Starscream, tries to shift the blame to Thundercracker for some reason.
And I don't know if Douglas Booth really understood the personalities here. He tries to get it, but it's a little weird how it's going about it. So in this one, it's going to be, it was Thundercracker's fault, where Thundercracker had nothing to do with it because he said it wouldn't work. And now Megatron's solution is, you two are going to watch it while I take care of this personally. And then the funniest part happens because he's like, Skywarp, you make sure these two do everything right while we're away getting the metal casing for the crystal. And now I want you to hear Skywarp's reaction when he's told he's going to be watching Starscream and Thundercracker.
Well, it looks like me wherever I look at my paycheck.
Yes, and my paycheck is when I cry in the corner over there.
But don't forget, this wouldn't be a Transformers if we didn't do another scene shift as we go to a Peruvian town nearby, and we have our person of interest, Louisa, who's like, oh, this isn't the gods, this is something else entirely.
Yeah, very stereotypical how it's portrayed in this episode, but it's an 84 episode, what do you expect? The writer's portrayal of how everyone in Peru is that they're still all living in ancient times, they're wearing their traditional, like, Inca garb, and they all think that the gods are angry at us, and they're all speaking perfect English, which is weird too, because it's a Spanish-speaking country. Yeah, this is the writer's portrayal of how someone in a Peruvian village would be acting, and she's the only rational one who's like, no, it's not the ancient gods, it has to be something else, I'll go investigate.
And I also do want to point out, when they did this and gave her that accent, it wasn't for us. This was the 80s. We didn't have the internet. And don't forget, this is also made for kids. All you have to do is put on an accent. They're like, oh, that's gotta be Peruvian.
Oh, yeah, accent. Yeah, that's Peru. Sounds Peruvian to me. Now we're gonna get to the most interesting part of the episode, which everyone remembers. So, you remember, we referenced this episode just before. It is called Fire in the Sky. And what happened at the end of Fire in the Sky? Hopefully you guys watched the episode. We did review it already. Skyfire sacrifices himself and flies into the Arctic again. The ice covers him up. He's lost forever. Spike shed a tear. He's gone but not forgotten.
Of course he's not forgotten. This is Transformers. He can't be forgotten because he hasn't yet sold enough toys to be forgotten.
Pretty much this is all gonna be retconned, which is so ridiculous. So I didn't get originally why they did this to Skyfire at the end of the episode. It made no sense. Why sacrifice him? Why lose him? You could have just not used the character as much if you wanted to fade to the background. You didn't have to destroy him. So they're gonna send Sideswipe and Wheeljack back to the Arctic. And again, we're not gonna guess how they got there. They must have drove again to the Arctic.
So you figure they'd send Ratchet there because, you know, he's frozen, he's going to need resuscitation, he's going to need repairs, he's probably next to death. Looks like Sideswipe's having a really good time.
Why did Optimus send Sideswipe and Wheeljack? It seems like a very minor mission. An Autobot sacrificed himself. We pretty much wrote him off. He's dead. But now all of a sudden, randomly, we decide, oh, you know, maybe now months have passed. It makes no sense. And fans are not happy about this because you can't have an episode like Fire in the Sky, which pretty much is like he's dead. That's it. He sacrificed himself. 2 episodes later, by the way, we're just going to drill him out as if nothing happened. So here's what happens in the scene.
Skyfire, are you warm enough to transform?
I hope so. Thanks, Wheeljack. I just about had it with the deep freeze treatment.
Head back to Autobot headquarters on the double.
We have to believe that for months, Skyfire has just been sleeping there. He's been fine. He's been okay. He's had to keep himself amused and entertained.
He's been trapped, as he says here. He's been waiting, which means he's fully conscious. If this was a human, he would have been insane by now.
Exactly. But anyway, the whole thing's retconned, and people are not happy about it because it undoes the sadness of the other episode and pretty much just writes it out like, no, that didn't happen. He's fine. And
all they had to do was literally show him appear in an iceberg like later on in the season. And they're like, man, we're in a tough spot. If we only had some help, then...
Skyfire, there he is. He's in an iceberg. Let's go get him. Oh, wow, what a break. The sad thing about this is they did not rescue Skyfire out of the goodness of their hearts. No, they need him for a mission, of course. They only rescued him because they need him. And that's very sad. It's actually kind of disgusting. They couldn't care less about him until they realized, oh, wait, we have to fly to Peru. We need a jet.
Wait. They went from Oregon to the Arctic Circle in 2 minutes. They can't spend 5 minutes to get to Peru going down through Mexico?
And Skyfire is more than happy to go, but if I was Skyfire, I would have been pretty annoyed. I'm like, wow, you left me buried in the ice for months, and now that you need me, you're going to actually rescue me? I would have been a little insulted by that, honestly. Anyway, Wheeljack wastes no time and says, Skyfire, welcome back. We need you to fly Brawn and Windcharger right to the Andes Mountain to investigate something that the Sky Spy found.
Now, I would like to think that Skyfire just left those two there and made them drive back.
Yeah, I know. They don't really explain that because Skyfire just sort of leaves, and then the next thing we see, Brawn and Windcharger are already in Skyfire. And by the way, look at how fast Skyfire is able to go from Autobot headquarters in the United States to Peru. It takes off, and the Green Mountains are right there instant.
Yep, but he gets even faster, folks, than that. But the most important thing is, now that we're here, we see that they only sent 2 mini-bots to scout. I'm sitting here thinking, why? Brawn is not a scout. Cliffjumper should be a scout, but he's a psychopath. But Windcharger, decent scout. This makes no sense. It's just like Optimus is like, hey, you two. And they're like, huh? Go with Skyfire.
Once they arrive there, the fight is on. Brawn and Windcharger waste no moment in going to full attack mode, which is the worst thing you could do. We're here to spy and find out what's going on, but Brawn's like, oh, let me at him. He's doing his Cliffjumper routine.
But at least we have some continuity here, as Megatron's like, there's Skyfire, the traitor.
Yeah, I like how they brought that back. It happened 2 episodes ago, and I like when cartoon series remember there is a history to things that happen in a continuity. So that was cool that they threw that line in there. I like that. It's an interesting situation because it's pretty much going to be Brawn and Windcharger taking on the whole Decepticon army at once, and it's very weird how this all goes down because there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to make the movie questionable just by the moments in this episode, because a lot of Autobots are going to be damaged and hit badly and shrug it off as if it's nothing, leading us to believe that the Decepticon weapons are pretty weak or useless and they don't really do anything except light things up and make for a nice light show, because everyone's going to be beat up very badly in this battle. We have Brawn's beating up on Soundwave, he's bashing him in there, and Windcharger's trying to get away from Laserbeak because Laserbeak's hunting him down, and then it's Brawn versus Megatron. You're like, yeah, Brawn's gonna take on Megatron, and it goes exactly how you think. Megatron
shoots him in the chest.
Brawn's like, oh, and he goes flying back. You're like, oh, I guess he killed Brawn, that's it.
Oh, no, that's much later.
And then he pretty much shrugs it off like that was nothing. And then we have an even worse moment where Soundwave is fine after getting his head bashed into a mountain, and then shoots Brawn with his disruptor ray, and his head goes bizarre. Like you see the laser like going through his eye all the way down to his neck, and he shakes that off like, oh boy, this is getting crazy. Like they're reacting like nothing is hurting them at all here, except they're getting blown up in every part of their body.
And I tell you what, after seeing this, you're like, Brawn, we salute you. You are definitely the baddest ass Autobot there is, for you to literally tank all those as a mini-bot. You live up to the name Brawn.
Yeah, and Windcharger's gonna be in total escape mode. He's like, help, we need help, and he's calling for Skyfire. Skyfire's like, I'm coming. Again, Skyfire, as usual, does nothing, because for some reason, they didn't want the Autobots overpowered. That's another reason why Skyfire was sort of reduced in role, besides the fact that the toy was questionable. Skyfire made the Autobots too powerful, so they sort of reduced the role of Skyfire into being sort of a backup and a transport, and he didn't really do much otherwise. And even in this episode, he really does nothing.
Well, he was actually, during this entire fight, was supposed to be going to investigate the temple. So he literally just flew around the entire mountain just to pick him up again.
And they do one of these amazing Dukes of Hazzard or Knight Rider jumps right into Skyfire as Brawn holds on to Windcharger's vehicle mode.
Yeehaw!
and Skyfire flies away, and there you go. So I still don't get the purpose of why Brawn and Windcharger were chosen for this, because this is a total disaster, but at least they found out everything they need to know, that the Decepticons are definitely up to something in the Peruvian mountains, and we gotta go investigate.
And I love the fact, at least this is one of the few times they did something right, because when they went back for reinforcements, they literally got every single Autobot except the Dinobots, which is actually their strongest fighters ever.
And it shows the size-changing abilities of Skyfire again. So every single Autobot in vehicle mode can very easily fit into Skyfire, which is amazing. But then again, Astral Train can become gigantic and every Decepticon can fit in him too. So they have this weird size-changing ability in vehicle mode where everyone just magically fits on them and we don't ask any questions how that works. So they all fly to Peru in 2 seconds again.
No, not 2 seconds. Look, Autobots load up and boom.
Hey, don't we all wish that flights were that fast? Imagine getting onto an airplane and you're flying to like South America from LA or something. All right, get ready for the flight. All right, and we're there, folks. Wow, that was a great flight. Took a little longer than expected, but there we are. So I see why they wanted Skyfire. Instead of driving for 2 minutes, they get to fly for 2 seconds. So that is a big saving.
Well, don't forget, remember, him and Starscream, as established 2 episodes ago, flew from freaking Cybertron to here from another galaxy,
far away
in like 2 seconds.
Finally, all the Autobots are on location now, and Megatron is going to raid the nearby mine because for some reason, if he makes the metal himself out of the nearby mining material, he can make it better than the steel that was stolen.
By the way, folks, as you see here, he's picking up red-hot molten rods. That should have fallen apart in his hands.
So they're all going to try to stop him at the factory nearby there in Peru, and now they're going to have a little bit of a battle. It's kind of weird how they show up here. Atlas pretty much is not even going to stop in his vehicle mode, by the way, and look at what he does here.
Welcome to the club. Let's get 'em.
He just hits freaking Megatron in the equilibrium again in his vehicle mode.
And then the fight breaks out. Megatron drops his proton cannon after getting hit by Optimus, and Brawn wants his revenge from the fight before. So Brawn's going to drive over...
Wait, Ramses. You saw that cannon, right?
Yeah.
That cannon was bigger than Brawn. How is he able to drive over it?
It's another one of those size-changing abilities they have. So Brawn must have grown bigger or the cannon got smaller. I don't know which one. So yeah, Brawn is now going to take it in his vehicle mode, by the way, with a claw that picks it up. And now Brawn is the one holding Megatron's cannon. Like, oh, that's kind of cool. I like when they use other Transformers weapons. That's
Which hurts your head because you're like, how did he pick it up into his cabin? As you can see here, it's bigger than half his body. But it's Brawn, so we allow this. Brawn is such a badass that he does develop in this episode an enmity with Soundwave when he tackled him.
That's right. That's going to start a long-going feud between the two of them. So keep note, because Brawn beat him up once here. We'll see if that ever happens again in another episode, which it will. So that's the first battle they had. But now Brawn's going to do something very cool, and probably everyone's always like, oh, I wonder if Megatron could withstand a blast from his own cannon. Well, we're about to find out. Let's see what happens when Brawn uses the cannon on Megatron.
See how Megatron likes a dose of his own medicine.
Brawn goes flying from the shot, by the way, and Megatron is hit, but it does absolutely nothing to Megatron. So the answer is, Megatron being hit by his own proton cannon will do absolutely nothing to Megatron. There you go.
At least Laserbeak does his part in helping out Megatron here.
So Megatron is going to be like, well, we got the steel we wanted. Brawn's been enough of an annoyance. Now let's finish them all off. So what happens next is Megatron wants his revenge. He misses Brawn totally. Brawn's able to jump away very easily.
Not only did he miss Brawn, the other 2 Autobots that weren't even near were like, oh crap, he's just firing the gun, get down!
And now the Decepticons hit a power line tower that's right there at wherever they are. For some strange, unknown, bizarre reason, Lucia, who we saw early in the episode, is standing right there at this location.
Yeah, she's not wearing any protective gear. She's just standing in the middle of a factory. So I'm thinking, well, at least in Peru, we know they don't have such thing as security. But thankfully, Bumblebee, rocking his new pink seats, was able to literally drive in, open the door, knock Lisa into Bumblebee.
Spike is now being the hero. He's all like, ha ha ha, I saved a girl about my age. She's going to be in love with me now. But that doesn't really go anywhere. There is sort of a appreciation, but it doesn't go further than that. And they've overpowered Megatron so badly in this. It is getting so ridiculous how overpowered Megatron is. He's invincible to everything. You're going to see in every episode, he should be destroyed. He is invincible. He is the most unstoppable Transformer, because even in this battle, they are firing everything they have on him, and he's just shrugging it off as if they're doing absolutely nothing while they're firing every laser blast you can imagine. And then what's his great plan? Skywarp, I need your backup. That's his great plan here.
At least Skywarp here. Wait, that's not Skywarp.
Oh, or should I say Thundercracker? Because obviously that's not Skywarp. It is Skywarp who shows up. So again, all right, wonderful job there.
Which also makes no sense, because they showed he can teleport. Shouldn't he be like, see you later, losers, and just disappear.
Yes, Lucia is going to show Spike a hidden way into the temple, so this is going to be great. And then, because we can't have the Autobots going undetected, Soundwave sends in Ravage to go after them.
Wait a second, wasn't Soundwave in the battle at the actual refinery? I don't remember them calling a retreat just yet.
Why is he nearby where Bumblebee and Lucia? That doesn't make any sense.
And why is he not just going, oh, there's humans, blam?
Soundwave is weird. Maybe he has the teleporting powers instead of Skywarp in this episode. I don't know.
Well, here's another mystery, because we saw at the beginning that when Megatron and all of them go into the actual temple to get this crystal, that the steps inside were sized perfectly for them. Because look here, here's Skyfire, who is like 3 times their size, walking upstairs that are perfectly sized for him.
So now Skyfire is going to show how useless he really is, because you would think this big, imposing Valkyrie fighter would be this amazing, powerful unit. No, he's really a wimp, because Starscream and Thundercracker are very easily able to take him down pretty much.
Thundercracker shows he's getting tired of their BS, and is like, you know what? I'm tired of Starscream. Go up there and blow that up. He'll take the blame and get what he deserves.
And Starscream's like, traitor!
Wait a second. He should have no feet to stand on. How many times has he tried to shoot to kill Megatron?
Well, this time he shoots Skyfire, accidentally, by the way, because he was actually aiming for Thundercracker. So I want to mention that it's Starscream's Null Ray, which again should not be doing any damage as it does in these episodes, is able to make contact to Skyfire when he was aiming for Thundercracker, and Skyfire actually goes down. So the biggest, strongest Transformer is able to go down in one shot. It's amazing. So Brawn is able to withstand everything, Megatron's able to withstand anything, but one shot to Skyfire and he's instantly down as if he was made out of wood.
Well, I also love the fact that they're always falling off this stupid temple. Them falling and getting buried under crap is, par for the course.
And now Starscream's gonna blackmail Thundercracker. Pretty much, you better do what I say from now on, or I'm gonna tell Megatron everything you said.
He's going to go Megatron and go, Thundercracker's going to betray you. I'm like, dude, you betrayed him like 4 times already.
So Skywarp now shows up to the battle, and Megatron's all excited. Aha! My reinforcement, Skywarp, is there. Like, wow, okay, yeah, Skywarp is here. Big deal. They're pretty much going to use Skywarp as a transport. They're going to load up all the new steel they just created and fly out of there, but the Autobots are firing on them. Megatron's like, oh, enough of this already. And Megatron's like, how do I stop these annoying maggots? He's going to do what every bad guy does before he goes to a break. So what's he going to do here? He's going to cause a rock slide to hit the Inca village that we saw earlier in the episode that Lucia's from. He's going to cause a rock slide to fly right into it and end all their lives.
And the logical way to do this is the actual Autobots should have formed a wall to block the actual avalanche, because we've already proven it, rocks cannot hurt Autobots no matter what. No, the Autobots actually show in one of those rare moments that they are the best marksmen in the entire universe.
Firing!
There is no debris that come out from these blasts that even come close to these people. And as you can see here, they're like standing on the rubble.
All right, so now let's get back to Skyfire, because Thundercracker and Starscream are going to bring in, it looks like Skywarp they brought in, but I thought I was supposed to say Skyfire.
Yeah, and look here. Look, it fixes itself. As
it's Skyfire again. Okay, yeah, he's back to normal again.
And then we have Megatron come in, filling them out on what's going on. They've used their new alloy they literally created, I guess, on their way back. After we're done blowing up the Autobots, we'll reconfigure Skyfire to be one of us.
Didn't they try that already and it didn't work at all?
Well, beyond that, do you want somebody who I can pick up a pebble, throw it at, and defeat him?
I don't see why you would even want him on your team. He seems kind of pathetic.
Well, you want him to carry stuff, but oh wait, they all can fly on the Decepticons, so who cares?
Yeah, they don't need that. So now, Bumblebee, Lucia, and Spike are in there, and they're like, hey, Skyfire was damaged. Well, don't worry, we have Spike, I'm not making this up, who knows how to fix gigantic Cybertronian Transformer. This is great.
Without Spike and Sparkplug, Autobots would have lost a long time ago.
Spike fixing it while Bumblebee stands there doing absolutely nothing as usual.
Well, technically he's not going to be doing nothing here because Ravage shows up and Spike's like distracting Bumblebee.
Good job, you keep it up. Keep up the good work there and doing absolutely nothing. Now, while that's all happening, Megatron built the new steel-rimmed weapon canister for the crystal, and he's going to now use it. And boy, is he going to use it. So the Megatron version of this is now purple casing. It's perfectly able to withstand the crystal's intense power.
I mean, after all, we've seen the destructive power of it. It literally causes nuclear explosions on the top. Can blow off the top of the mountains. And now watch what happens when he shoots. That did as much damage as his fusion cannon. Alright? folks.
So he's firing on everybody. He even hits Optimus, I think, and Optimus just shrugs it off. This most powerful weapon in the history of the universe is just doing little poofs on the ground now all of a sudden.
Well, you know what? He should be thankful because there's no Decepticon around to see this embarrassment. He shoots a few rocks to bury them, which we know that's not going
He's like,
to work.
yay, I buried them. Yeah, Megatron, you buried them. That's exactly what you were going for here, right? You weren't trying to destroy them. You wanted to bury them under some rocks. That was your goal, right?
Oh, wait, there we go. There's the Decepticons. They knew that they were going to come from that exact direction, and that's why they hid and waited for them to dig themselves out to actually do something.
Yeah, it's a good thing they were all waiting in the perfect spot for where they were buried under the rocks, and now they're just doing a naked gun routine where they're all firing in front of each other and hitting nothing the whole time, and the ultimate weapon that Megatron's firing is doing absolutely nothing all the while.
It's shooting lightning now.
Yeah,
Look
we
at
have
this.
lightning blast. It's total pandemonium, and Spike is still fixing Skyfire while Bumblebee's playing with Ravager. It's amazing.
I always wondered, when Ravage shows up, Bumblebee always manages to forget that he has a gun. But to be fair, Ravage has 2 of them and some missiles, and he never uses them.
Spike figures out that a fuse was out, all that blast did, so he puts the fuse back in.
Where'd he get it from?
I don't know. We won't ask that question. Well, Skyfire is now reactivated, and oh good, finally we're going to see it. Skyfire is going to crush him to death. He's going to destroy him.
No, he's not going to crush him. He's going to throw him into that lava vein over there.
Oh yeah, that'll be great. Yeah, finally, we get rid of the...
Look at that, he throws him and...
Skyfire tossed him away and Ravage just runs away. That's the climax of that?
We saw that one shot can stop Skyfire. Ravage, you have cannons. One shot code took Skyfire out again.
Alright, so Skyfire is now fine. Somehow the wound is melted back together too. I don't know how Spike did that. Skyfire flies away, leaving everyone else there. It's Skyfire! And everyone's so excited that Skyfire is now showing up.
You really don't know how useless he is, folks.
No, he really is. He does absolutely nothing.
But here's the best part. We have Ironhide and Optimus go up there. The ultimate gun is a machine gun, and Ironhide just gets winged as Optimus catches him and they regroup. Ironhide being Ironhide.
This is what separates the Autobot from the robot chicken. Ain't no one calling me a robot chicken.
You do not call anyone a chicken or a turkey.
Yeah, you don't call it, that's like, making fun of somebody's mother.
Yeah.
So the Autobots then attack, and we soon find out that nobody can hit the broadside of a barn except for strangely Skyfire, who comes in.
Some former scientist. He's destroying all the ancient ruins to blast at 2 pathetic Decepticons. I love that part of this.
Well, Brawn and Ironhide are actually able to get to the top and distract Megatron, although Ironhide gets his butt whipped.
So I'm finally going to remember that he's the one that's supposed to be taking on Megatron, not Ironhide.
But guess what? His machine gun, which does no damage, is pointed right at them. And then suddenly...
Skyfire is able to actually destroy the crystalline cannon with some machine gun fire. So all of a sudden, the most impervious steel is not so impervious. It's able to hold the most powerful crystal, but you fire a machine gun at it and perish the thought that's going to destroy the whole thing. See, everyone gets thrown off of things in these episodes. Throw, fall. So they loved using the pyramid. Everyone kept falling and tripping and getting tossed off of this thing. It's actually a funny moment. So I'll just throw him away. His device is destroyed, and Megatron's crying like a little kid.
Decepticons, retreat!
Yep, and so, just like any true Decepticon, they all decide to fly away.
Thundercracker's gonna get the last laugh here, because Thundercracker was supposed to have some interesting moments. They sort of reduced it, but Thundercracker was having second thoughts. He didn't like how Starscream was treating him, and he didn't like what was going on. He was gonna sort of help the Autobots a little bit and sabotage things, but that was sort of thrown out in the original plot. So now it's gonna be Thundercracker pretty much calls them geeks as he's flying away.
What's the matter, fearless leader? You and Starscream look real geeky. Maybe the Autobots aren't such wimps after all.
Megatron is just sort of grinning, and I don't know if that's the right expression to be showing
because
here.
Starscream's like, I've got a headache. Make Thundercracker stop. Megatron has this smirk on his face like he's actually proud of his troops. It should be a scowl.
And now we're going to see Frank Welker get his Dr. Claw moment in here, because don't forget Frank Welker's the voice of Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget.
I shall be avenged, Autobots. I shall return.
And that's how Megatron flies off into the distance doing his Dr. Claw. So it's very silly, the ending. Like, Megatron went through all this, and then his little toys destroyed, which did nothing, by the way. When he put it in the new shell, it seemed to have lost its power. So maybe Starscream was right in that you need the weaker metal to get the more power out of it. I don't know, but the gun became kind of useless. Megatron flies away, but we still have a problem. So we still have a lava flow flying through the pyramid here.
Weeza's talking to Spike about how are we going to stop the planet from destroying Peru by shooting lava everywhere. We got Wheeljack and a shrunken Skyfire getting ready to put a cap on it, and at every point of this, they're reminding everyone that Wheeljack's inventions do not work right.
Now, the problem with this is not that they're capping it, it's that earlier in the episode, it was established that the crystal was inside the temple, capping off the lava flow. Now, we're gonna have it where they're trying to cap off the top of the pyramid, which makes no sense, because wouldn't that mean the lava is still flowing through that room to the top? If you're capping from the top, wouldn't the lava all be splashing back down?
Exactly, that's why I said it's like they're not fixing the problem. They're making it worse. Now it's going to shoot out all 4 of the exits that they created.
Right.
Well, don't worry, this was made by the ancients, so I guarantee you there was a fail-safe to keep lava from going out.
I guess so. We'll just have to go with that. So the device works, and you think that would be the end. But no, we need to get in another funny moment. Skyfire and Wheeljack shaking hands victoriously as they shine lights around them. All right, so you think that's going to be the end of the episode? No. Well, the third ending is Bumblebee, Spike, and Lucy are driving back their village because everyone's like, oh, can we get a ride back? And then they show Bumblebee's like, I'll drive you guys back in his Volkswagen for him. We'll take them all back.
And when we get back home, I want Bumblebee to meet my brother's convertible. We call her Juanita. And I think the 2 of them will get along just fine.
Aw, shucks.
That's how this episode ends.
I'm sitting here thinking after he said, my brother calls his car Juanita. I'm like, your brother's single, isn't he?
So that's Fire on the Mountain. And what an episode this was, and we're only 9 episodes in, and they're getting crazier and sillier as we go along.
I think that, honestly, this episode is actually a good episode. It has all the signs of good storytelling. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. This is not an A-Team episode. As a matter of fact, it's so not an A-Team episode, they gave us 3 endings.
Yes, 3 separate endings.
And it was actually very fun, although there is a lot of things in this that doesn't make sense. The whole fact that everybody's getting blown up with only minor damage, and proves that Skyfire, who's supposed to be one of the most powerful Autobots, is actually one of the wimpiest. Not only that, he's an afterthought because the Autobots are too lazy to drive to Peru, even though they drove to the Arctic Circle. And you also see that they really didn't want to win this because they didn't bring the freaking Dinobots with them. And this made no sense. Megatron's plan worked. He had the unstoppable weapon, but once again, plot armor saved the day. But that being said, it was still a great and fun episode. I enjoyed all the mistakes. I enjoyed the silly moments. There was a lot of character development, and I liked it. So I'm going to give this one 3.5 stars. It's not a masterpiece, not even one of the better episodes, but it's definitely above some of the other things we've already seen. Boy.
I like this episode because it has continuity. The Skyfire situation from 2 episodes ago is concluded here. Megatron very clearly calls him a traitor. They want to bring him back to the Decepticon forces, and they go to the exact spot where he was lost to rescue him, albeit much, much later, and it makes no sense. But it also ruins something because you're like, well, if it was that easy, why'd they wait so long to do this? Oh, they need him, and now they're rescuing him. It was very silly, and I didn't like that it was used in that way. But at least they brought him back, and don't get too used to him. He only shows up in a few episodes. They're not going to really use the Skyfire character, and that's more due to legal reasons. They didn't really have the rights to the character, but they wanted him in because the toy was still on the market at this time as Jetfire, and he helped with being the only flying Autobot for a while, but once the Aerobots come around, that changes things anyway. The episode is good and bad. I think that the problem is the Autobots and Decepticons are too immortal or too impervious to everything. Shots flying all over the place, everyone's getting hit with everything, but it does absolutely nothing. Megatron is standing there while they're firing shots non-stop, it does nothing. Skyfire is the only one that took any real damage in this episode, and that was by a null ray from Starscream, and we're supposed to believe that did damage, and Spike, by the way, is the one that fixed him, which is ridiculous also, but everyone else is impervious to everything happening to him. It is ridiculous. There's no point in having weapons or war if you're not going to be able to be defeated by other weapons. It makes no sense. It looked ridiculous after a while. But I like the storyline. It's very silly. The 80s is obsessed with crystals. We love our crystals in the 80s. Crystals, crystals, crystals. And this is not just in Transformers. Other Hasbro cartoons did this too. It's crystals, crystals, crystals. And I don't get what the obsession over crystals was. It just makes for a fun, natural source you can use, but we're supposed to believe that this one crystal held in a lava chute, and then once it's removed, the lava goes crazy. Well, logically, that doesn't make any sense. And then you put a stupid cap on top of the temple, by the way, to stop it. Again, that makes no sense. So, cartoon logic, we gotta make everything work, but I like the story, the idea. It's just, I don't like how weak Megatron's weapon came. As we got later and later into the episode, the same weapon that destroyed the Sky Spy and a mountaintop suddenly became a machine gun that was like a World War I machine gun that was firing left and right, and then lightning bolts are now flying out of it. I'm like, what type of gun is this? Is it the most powerful gun ever, or is it just a randomized gun that does whatever it decides? Megatron's obsessed with weapons. I guess because he's a gun, it makes sense he'd be obsessed over weapons, but they had the energy. That seems to be what their goal should have been. Let's tap into this ultimate energy, but that was never utilized. And I like the banter with the Seekers. That was funny because it gives them personalities. I don't like how shallow Starscream's character comes off in so many episodes. At least here, he had a little personality. Skywarp is cackling like a madman, and Thundercracker's razzing them on. So I like that they gave the Seeker some personality. That was another fun thing to the episode. And then you have the ridiculous 3 endings with the Bumblebee going the oh gosh, it's just so ridiculous looking. But it's a fun ending. So it's all over the place. It's one of those episodes that's not bad, but not great. It has some good parts, it has some silly parts, and it has some stupid parts. I think the story was just all over the place, and I don't like how impervious the Transformers are, like I said, because this is going to totally make the movie look ridiculous. If you go by this episode, the movie makes no sense at all, because this was much worse than anything you saw in the movie. Much worse. So anyway, I'm going to give this 3 stars, a little less than Vespor. I still like it. It's definitely better than average, but I don't think it reached that extra oomph and greatness that 3.5 does, but I think 3 is definitely one of those you have to see it, you got to experience it. It's definitely a classic Transformers episode, but there were some things that definitely bothered me about it that didn't put it a little higher than that, but I still enjoyed it. It's good for what it is.
And with that, we hope you enjoyed our review of Fire on the Mountain. We'd like to hear what you think about the episode too, so please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and
ring that bell, and we'll bring you much more where this came from. We're just getting started in our Transformer reviews. Thank you for the feedback. We know you guys have loved this stuff. Yep, we're going to try to finish all season 1, so stay tuned for much more Investor Retro reviews, Transformer reviews, 1984. We love the series. We love having fun with it, and we know you guys are enjoying it too. Much more to come, and we'll see you all next time.
Wheeljack, you did it. If I could see you, I'd shake your hand.
Hey guys, that's our cue!
Thanks, Auto Buddies. You know, it sure is nice when one of my inventions actually works.